Assalamu alaikum. This is our new lecture, and this lecture is about location planning and analysis because in business, where the management is going to take many decisions, in those decisions, the location decision is very much important because location plays very vital and very important role in any organization's performance and activities because there are so many things to be understood and so many things to be learned while deciding about the location. So this is all. This is the chapter is all about for the location planning and analysis. This is chapter learning objectives and outline, and you can see that in this chapter we will identify some of the main reasons organizations need to make location decisions. We will explain why location decision is important. We'll discuss the options that are available for location decisions. Then we will discuss key consideration related to the global location decisions. And next is outline. We will outline the decision process for the making location decisions. Next is to describe some of the key factor that guide service and retail location decisions. And in the last, we'll see some use of techniques presented to the evaluation of location alternative. So let's start our lesson. Need for location decisions is very much important. Existing organization may need to make location decisions for a variety of the reasons because firms such as a bank or fast food chain, supermarkets and retail stores view locations as part of the marketing strategy because if they are very closely located with their customers, so obviously it would be giving them very large benefits. And then they look for the locations what will help them to expand their market. Basically, the location decisions, those cases reflect the addition of the new location to an existing system. This is basically location decisions come into a process because if you are working somewhere and you need to expand yourself or you need to extend the market, then obviously you need to have some or you need to seek some those kind of location which is long lasting and which is beneficial for the long term for the organization. A similar situation occurs when an organization experiences a growth in the demand for its product or service that cannot be satisfied with by expansion and at an existing location. The addition of the new location is to complement an existing system is often a realistic alternative. It means that if a market is being enriching with more and more demands, more customers, and while the situations comes that uh, uh, current system or current service is or current capacity is not capable to meet that demand. Uh, so even the expansion in your facility cannot meet your demand, then you have to see some other locations or you have to see some other areas where you have to establish a business. And this is actually the basic theme of this chapter. Now, what is the nature of location decision? Obviously, it is very strategic importance of location decision because location decisions are closely tied to an organization's strategies. For example, strategy of being a low-cost producer might result in locating where labor or material are low, or locating near market or raw material to reduce transportation cost. Just like China, you see that the China is obviously uh, producing a least cost product because they're very aggressive in finding out the cheap locations and they do their business to their new locations closely located with the raw material and or closely located to the communities with the low or cheap low rate labor or cheap labor. So that's why China is producing very cheap commodities. Similarly, location choices can impact capacity and flexibility. Certain locations may be subject to the space constraints and limit future expansion options. The bigger example would be like your own university, because before that campus where you are in presently, before that campus, we were located on the Nestarabad, but that location was not good because that capacity was, or that building or the capacity was not enough to meet the future demand or future requirements. So then we had to shift from that place to the other place. So that is very much important decision. And obviously, we are if we came to outside city, so we kept in mind that we are moving not for the couple of year or couple of decades, but we were looking for such kind of a area or location where we can foresee long-term planning, and the expansion in that building would be possible again and again if wherever it is required. So it is very much important. Location decisions are strategically important for other reasons as well. One is that they entail a long-term commitment, which makes mistakes difficult to overcome. So that is already explained. For service like university, hospital, or any or restaurant, a poor location could result in a lack of customer and high operating cost. If you compare the Abbasian University and City University, so Abbasian University is being is said to be the having a very good location, because at that location the accessibility is very easy and low cost for the students. But the City University, which is somewhat uh, almost 2 kilometer away down and with the main road, so that's why the accessibility to the City University is not that much cheap. It is very expensive. So it has to be taken into consideration. Similarly, for both manufacturing and service, location decision can have a significant impact on the competitive advantage. So that's why Abbasine is having a competitive advantage over City University. So the number of students in Abbasine University are larger than the City University, because Abbasine University has the comparative advantage of appealing location. And then another reasons for the importance of location decision is their strategic importance of supply chain. This is very much important for the manufacturing products, because if you are located where the raw material is not closely available, or where the customer is not closely available, so that's why supply chain would be having more and more cost. You have to bring all the resources from the far areas to your production plant. That would be having cost. Or if you are locating away from your customer, so obviously marketing and distribution channel would be taking too much money from you. So that's why a supply chain is becoming costly. Then the location option, we are having four kind of policies there, or strategies there. The first one is expand an existing facility. Obviously first choice would be like just like that. If you are working somewhere, and if the demand or production has to be increased, so the first choice would be that the existing location should be expanded. But again, it is depending that your existing location have that much space that the expansion can be taken place. But if your existing location does not have that capacity to expand, so obviously then it is difficult to run current demand into the existing location. Then you have to go to the second option, which is adding new location while retaining existing one. Keep the older one, or keep the original one with yourself, and take another outlet, or take another plant somewhere else. So you can do like that. This is done in many retail operations, and retail operation, and even in restaurants, and opening a new store in a shopping mall may simply draw a customer who already patronize an existing store in the same chain, rather than expand the market. or if it can be happen in the production or manufacturing area, but in some areas it is not possible to run simultaneous outlets or simultaneous production plant at one time. So you go for the third option, that is to shut down the old location and move to the other, like just like the city university who has uh, left the old campus and shifted to the new one. And the organization must weigh the cost of the move and resulting benefit against the cost and benefit of the remaining is in an existing location. So when you are leaving one place and moving to other, so obviously you have to see all the cost, because particularly the hidden cost, or what we can say opportunity cost. So it might be very alarming for the organization. But city university, in example, for example, if you take the city university, it has bared high cost, high opportunity cost by shifting to the new location, because in initial year the number of students fell down considerably, and the restoration of the number of students uh, uh, got possible after almost 3 to 4 years. So it took 3 to 4 years to get the good number of students to the new location. So it is it carries some what we can say, the hidden cost or opportunity cost. Or the last option is do nothing. If the detailed analysis of the potential locations fails to uncover benefits that make one of the previous three alternative attractive, the firm may be decided to maintain the status quo, at least for the time being. It means that if expanding the existing facility, or getting the new one with the older one, or leaving the older one and shifting to the new one, if all these three options are not working for you, then leave all the options and do nothing, and leave these decisions on the future. So this is actually the nature of location and decision. Global locations. Global location, obviously, when we are moving or when we are searching international location, so it means that we are moving towards the global locations. And while uh, moving globally, there are some advantage, and the list of these advantage, although it is important to recognize that not all benefits apply to every situation. So these three or four advantages are there, but again, that is said that all these advantages should not matlab, it is not necessary to apply to all organizations. The first advantage is the market. Companies often seeks opportunities for expanding market for their goods and services, as well as better service existing customers by being more attuned to local needs and having a quicker response time when problem occurs. So that's how you can expand your market. And you saw that many of the organizations, many of the firm was working in internationally. They move to new lands and new territories, and they come to the new lands with the bigger market, just like Alibaba, just like Daraz, and all the multinational, you can name it. The second thing is the cost saving. Obviously, if we are moving towards the new location or global location, so that obviously then we are exposing ourselves to the new and resources and the new customer, and we are coming closer to them. uh, just as I said that Alibaba and Daraz came into Pakistan, so now they are serving in Pakistan, because they cannot serve, keeping themselves out of the market and keeping away from the Pakistani customer. But now they are in the Pakistan, and they are working closely and connected with the people in the land. And the third one is legal and regulatory. There may be more favorably liability and labor laws and less restrictive environmental and other regulations. If global locations are favoring you in terms of laws and in terms of regulations, then you must move to the new locations. And the last thing is financial benefits. Companies can avoid the impact of the currency changes that can occur when goods are produced in one country and sold in other countries. Also, a variety of the incentives may be offered by national, regional, and local government to attract business that will create jobs and boost the local economy. So the financial benefit also can be taken by moving globally. But along with the advantages, there are some disadvantages as well. To move globally or global locations, the first thing is transportation cost, because if you are producing in China and you are delivering in the Pakistan or in on any other European country, so moving that Chinese product from China and up to Europe or any far away area, so that carries a high transportation cost that can occur due to the poor infrastructure for having a ship over a great distance, and the resulting cost of an offset can offset savings in labor and material cost. Similarly, the security cost, obviously any organization is familiar with the with its own country situations and security situations. But if you're moving in other land, you have to be very careful about it, because other land, the culture, the politics, political instability, the social instability, they may harm you. They may be very threatening for you. And similarly, unskilled labor, low labor skill may negatively impact quality and productivity, and the work ethics may differ from that in the home country. Additional employees training may be required. So if you're moving to other countries, so obviously you have to train the new labor according to your needs. Then the import restrictions. This is also an restriction, a disadvantage. Some countries place restriction on the importation of the manufactured good. So having local supplies avoid those issues. Then the criticism. Critics may argue that the cost savings are being generated through unfair practice, such as the using sweatshops in which employees are paid low wages and made to work in poor condition, using child labor and operating in a country that have a less stringent environmental requirements. So that is also a very important reason or important disadvantage. And the last one is productivity. Low labor productivity may offset low labor cost or other advantages. So these were the advantages and disadvantages of the global locations. Then the next thing is global location continued. The risk is involved here. Obviously, it is the disadvantage of global locations, and the highly risk are involved here. And as we said earlier, that the political, social, economic, legal, these kind of unrest may create problem for you. So there might be a political reasons, there might be terrorism, there might be economic instability, there might be some legal restrictions, might be some ethical issues, and there must be some cultural differences also there. So they make some risks for the organization. So this is all about the global location. Now we'll see the general procedure for the making location, uh, how we make locations for our surveys, for our operations. General procedure for making location decisions usually consists the following steps. Number one, decide on the criteria to use for evaluating locations alternatives, such as increasing revenues, decreasing costs, the community services. First of all, you have to keep in mind that why you need another location. So those criterias must be in your clearly should be in your mind, that by moving to new location, what kind of benefit will you receive. Then the identify important factors such as the location of the market or raw material. The factors will differ depending on the type of the facility. For example, retail, manufacturing, distribution, healthcare, transportation, having different factors in that guide their location decisions. So in second stage, see the factors. Mm, an important factor according to your own business. If you are running food chain supply, or if you're running restaurants, if you're running a shopping mall, so you have to see some factor associated with your business. So after seeing those factors, then on the third stage, you have to develop the location alternative. Alternatives means that you may find some more than one places suitable to you. So then identify the country or countries for location, then identify the general region for the location, and then I identify the small number of communities alternative, and then identify site alternative among the communities alternatives. Mean that someone would be choosing Pakistan for shifting the location, and then after Pakistan they have to decide about the province region, either to KP or to Punjab or to Islamabad, to Sindh or to Balochistan. But if they chose KP, then after KP they have to come up to the city, that what kind of city of KP would be suitable for the business. And if they choose Peshawar, then in Peshawar they have to find out the exact point in Peshawar where you have to where you go to locate Sadr side or Bahar side or any other side. So this is kind of identification required. Then after that, evaluate the alternative and make selection. And if you have more than one alternatives, then you have to select one out of them. So step one is simply a matter of managerial preference, and step 2 through 4 is discussed in the following pages. It means that step one is managerial issue, but when we are going to explain the step number 2, 3, and 4, then we have to see in detail, and that stages, the stage number 2, 3, and 4, that will be inshallah explained in next lecture. Thank you very much.